स्वामिन् नमस्ते नतलोकबन्धो कारुण्यसिन्धो पतितं भवाब्धौ मामुद्धरात्मीयकटाक्षदृष्ट्या ऋज्व्यातिकारुण्य सुधाभिवृष्ट्या स्वामिन्नमस्ते 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 यत्कीर्तनं यत्स्मरणं यदीक्षणं यद्वन्दनं यच्छ्रवणं यदर्हणं लोकस्य सद्यो विधुनोति कल्मषं तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः विचक्षणाय चरणोपसादनात् संगं व्युदस्योभयतो अन्तरात्मनः विन्दन्ति हि ब्रह्मगतिं गतक्लमाः तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः। Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. You know, when we chant shlokas, you should feel the words, the meaning of the words. I thought of saying this to you because we have learned from Swamiji this, that learning shlokas, chanting them, you can chant in your own tune. It's not that you have to chant in my tune or Nutan Swamiji's tune or Swamiji's tune. In your own tune. But feel the words. Be absorbed by the meanings. Rub your personality with them and try to become that. Why these words are coming to me? When I was singing these songs, you know, there is a word called Gataklamaha. That is, you become devoid of impurities. So, that feeling, when you chant that, it should be from your heart. That whatever is restricting my spiritual growth, whatever undesirable tendencies are there in the mind, let all that be over. And it is not in this sloka. All the slokas. See, when we say Namo Namaha, every day we are doing this pranam to Swamiji, chanting the Guru slokas. And every sloka is ending with what? Ending with Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. It should not be just chanted mechanically, in tune, in chorus. But you should be absorbed into it and offer yourself your pranam. What is pranam? To be absolutely surrendered. And what is surrender? Understanding that God is everything, everywhere, in everything, every time. And with my body, mind, intelligence, everything is His creation. He is creating, He is sustaining, He is dissolving. Everything is by Him. So when we think that, how much humble we should become. And we should focus on these two words, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And why Guru? You know, there is a sloka. These Pushpa Samarpanam slokas, we start with one shloka. That is, Shankaracharya's, it says, Janmaneka shatais sadadara yuja bhaktya samaradhito. When Aravindan starts, it is with this sloka. Then we start slowly. The next one is particularly on our Guru Swamiji, and then we start the Guru slokas. So this first sloka by Shankaracharya, it says, Janmaneka shataihi sadadara yuja bhaktya samaradhito bhaktair vaidika lakshanena vidhina santushta isha swayam sakshat shri guru rupametya kripaya drigocharasan prabhu tatvam sadhu vibodhya tarayati tan samsara dukkharnavat. You will find it in our website. So it says that when a devotee or a seeker seeks the ultimate truth, or a devotee seeks God, worships God, sadadara yuja, with lot of respect and devotion, bhaktya samaradhito, devotion, and with full respect and devotion, giving the wholesome mind one-pointed devotion, he does the worship to God, this all-pervading God, whomsoever he feels God supreme, much higher than me, the powerful one, the omnipresent one, and he does the worship according Vaidika Lakshanena Vidhina. All our Vedas, our scriptures, whatever vidhis, that is injunctions they have given, in that manner the devotee or the seeker worships. Now the worship is going on. Every one of you worships. Think of God, chant the name of God. But when this worship becomes very wholesome, one-pointed, one feels that I should know more and more about God, I should be one with God, then God becomes pleased with the devotee. Santushtaha, santushtaha means satisfied. Ishaha means Bhagavan or God, Swayam. He himself becomes very pleased. Now, being pleased, what can he do for the devotee? Can he do anything? We go to the temples or we may have a shrine. Every day we light a lamp, we may light a lamp, we may give flowers, we may religiously worship. When we are in our troubles, we go and cry. But can God tell us anything? Does he talk to us? He cannot. Now, when the devotee's devotion deepens and becomes one-pointed, God becomes satisfied and feels, now is the time when, if I give him some instruction, he will try to follow that. And he then comes Sakshat Shri Guru Rupametya Kripaya. He takes the form, human form, as the Guru. Drigocharasan Prabhu. The Lord then takes the form of the Guru, takes the human form and comes before him. And Guru can talk. You can ask him, why my mind is like that? See, I am saying, yesterday also I said, now today Sneha also repeated, I am saying if you do not have questions, you ask why I am not having question. That also you are not ready to do. So, very sorrowful case. Very sad case. So, but God is merciful, compassionate. He feels that, okay, he has been worshipping, now he needs to know what is to be done. So he takes the form and comes like a guru, and tattvam sadhu vibodhya. He gives him knowledge. Tarayatitan. He makes him cross what? Samsara dukkharnavat. The worldly ocean. You know, in the ocean, you are in the bank of Pacific Ocean, and when we come here, we also like to go there and sit there. So the ocean is such. This ocean has so much high waves. Waves after waves it comes. Sometimes tsunami also takes place. And our life is like that, ups and downs, ups and downs. When we are having everything all right, we are so elated, so happy. When we say, this is one sentence whenever here, I think, when we ask, how are you? I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Everybody says, I'm good. But what is that good? That good will go. You cannot keep that good always. Now, there was one devotee who asked me, Ma, I'm very anxious. Why? Everything is okay in my life now. In my family, my mother's family, my in-laws' family, everything is okay. So I'm very fearful now. Suppose something happens, what will happen? So please tell me what I should do so that I get rid of this fear. This is what a true devotee asks. That Viveka Chudamani, that is what the student goes and asks the Guru, that I feel like this. So please give me that knowledge. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. That is in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is, give me that knowledge, attaining which, yam labdhva, chaparam labham, any other labha, any other gain or attainment, manyate nadhikam tataha. I will not think that it is superior to this attainment. You get it? That attainment, attaining which, I will feel that I have got everything and no other gain is necessary. Nothing more than this is there. And yasmin sthitaha, remaining where? Steadfastly, yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. After attaining that state, if I am able to get it, I know that remaining there, guruna dukkhena api, the huge adversity, huge affliction, even if it befalls me and I have to face it, I will not be affected. So what is that state? Please tell me. This is what is necessary in our lives. So it seems that you don't want it. Huh? Do you really want it? Then why don't you ask? Actually so. In Jamshedpur once, one family came. They are very old devotees of Swamiji. Their daughter, the eldest is the daughter. She is very qualified. She is doing a very good job, but now not getting married. So they are looking for a match. Every year we go yearly. Every year for 2-3 years we are going and we are hearing Swamiji. We are very worried. We are not getting a match for the girl. So one year I was thinking that just see. So they say that Swamiji, please bless that she gets married. We are very worried. So I was feeling that just see, people are spiritual, people are reading, listening, maybe contemplating, maybe doing meditation, maybe chanting and doing puja every day. But they are wanting blessing only for their daughter to get married. Can they not ask a blessing that Swamiji, let my daughter get married or not, please give me a blessing that my mind is not affected by this, my daughter not getting married. You get it? How many of you are wanting it? You are only listening. You are only listening. And after every lecture, fantastic. Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. But what is that to you? What have you taken? So in this, I was trying to tell you this Nitya Yuktata. Prahlada, he says that he was Govinda Parirambhitaha. He always felt the presence of the Lord, as if Lord has embraced him. I think that we will be able to be so if we can remember the presence of the self or God, presence of self or God, and we never forget that I am the self. My body, mind, intelligence, ego, everything, we are mistakenly identified with this changeful body, mind, intelligence. We feel that this is the I. Which is changeful, we feel this is the I. And this limited I. My name, my qualifications, my age, etc., etc. But actually our real identity is changeless. We mistakenly get identified with the changeful body, mind, intelligence. And whatever changes in the body, mind, and intelligence, we also suffer along with that. But we will not suffer, we will not be affected if we can just sit steadily into our own self, yam labdva chaparam labham. That state which is already there, it is our own self. It is changeless. We have to remember it. And remember it through our activities, because all of us are active. When we get into activities, we forget other things. So, this is what I told you yesterday. Now, in the activities, one is, say, worship, or your spiritual and divine devotional pursuits. You do every day, and you feel that I am a devotee, I am a seeker. I was telling you that one should always see, assess, that even if I am a devotee or a seeker, am I getting the qualities of the devotee or a seeker? You must go through those qualities in the scriptures and try to see how much you have got it and whether you can get it also. And first one, I said that in 12th chapter, it is Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. So, everybody should at least try to be liking everybody, loving everybody, not hating at least. You know, in our life, there will be many difficult people. We need not suppose there is a tiger, we should not go and embrace it, right? But we should not hate, have bitterness. And we human beings, we have to interact with so many people. Suppose there are difficult people with whom you cannot get along, you should be tactful. There is a word daksha in the quality of devotees. Aniketaha shuchihi dakshaha. That is, you should know the tactics, how to deal with people. But seeing others' nature, which you feel are not good, you should not be hateful or disliking or feeling a bitterness about them, belittling them, even in the mind. You get it? So, one is worship. In worship, generally, we'll do lighting of a lamp, offering flowers. So, Krishna is telling in one of the chapters, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Yome Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhaktyuparhitam Ashnami Prayatatmana. So, you can give if you don't get anything, people will do worship in a very nice manner, giving so many offerings. It's not necessary. In Bhagavatam it says, Priyate amalaya bhaktya hariranyad vidambanam. Hari wants only bhakti. And what is that kind of a bhakti? A bhakta should be unmotivated bhakti. It's not that I am giving you puja, so you give me blessing and keep my family all right. Nothing you should want. I want to love you. I want to have devotion for you. The devotion which is ahaituki. Means, what is ahaituki? Unmotivated. without any reason. And ahaituki apratihata, that is, the bhakti will not reduce if some calamity falls in your life. Many people, when calamity falls, oh, I have stopped lighting lamps. I have stopped going to temple. There is no God for me. So bhakti is such, like a mother, even the child is a little naughty or mischievous, mother's love for the child will not diminish. That kind of a bhakti. So you, patram pushpam phalam toyam. So it says that you need not worship me with so many items. I want only pure bhakti. And everything else is ostentation. All that you do, I don't need. And whom are we giving? We are giving whatever he is giving us, we are trying to give him. So he says that, patram, that is leaf, give me only one leaf. Give me only one flower. If you do not have that, give me a little water even. But if whatever, even these things should be smeared with love, devotion. Without that, it has no meaning. So what we have to increase is connectedness in doing the worship also. See, when we worship, you think yourself, at what stage are you? Many people have many idols in the house. So to clean them, to keep them properly, it takes time. Let it be. It's a very good discipline. But in doing the regular worship even, regular meditation even, are we thinking that I am God's? My connectedness is with God. He's inside me and He's outside me everywhere. When we think like that, then it becomes an offering. So he says, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahitam. There, this bhakti I take. Now, when we do some worship, suppose we have gone to temple, suppose this kind of even the retreat, what are we are trying to? We are trying to give you knowledge about God or trying to give you knowledge about the self. So the mind is full of divinity, sublimity, purity, and one-pointed. That is how you are listening. From morning till evening, you are able to listen because you have forgotten other things. Mind is pure. But when we get into activity, how do we remain Nityayukta? So Krishna says that when you are active, offer all your actions. Offer all your actions. He says that yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamitam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. So, he says, yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam. Now, who is God? We have not seen Him. We do not know Him. We have a lot of doubts about Him also. And how to love Him then? How? There are so many things to love in this world. First the family, then the belongings, then the achievements, all these things. So leaving all that, whom we have not even seen, how to love Him? We may say we love Him. We may say we are devoted to Him. And that's loving and devotion is only for keeping everything that you have intact. Nothing should go from you. So he is saying, yatah pravrittir bhutanam, from whom everything emergence, everybody's activities are activated, yena sarvamidam tatam, and who completely envelops the whole creation. He is the one. He alone is. There is no second. That is why we are His part. Everything is His part. Nothing is different. We are seeing the differentiation because He has wished to become so. He has wished to give us different forms. But He has also given us mind and intelligence in this body to seek the ultimate truth that everything is one. That is why we are different from all other creatures. This is His best creation, the human beings. He has given the body and mind and intelligence to seek Him. He alone makes us do everything. And He alone, He also makes us forget Him. But He has given this mind and intelligence a lot of scope to seek Him, to seek the truth. This is what. So we must think about Him as a source of everything. He creates, He sustains, He dissolves. He is everywhere in everything at every time. Everything is enveloped by Him. And He is inside me, He is outside me. He is above me, He is below me, He is in my this side, in my that side. You know, in Mundaka Upanishad, there is a very beautiful shloka. Now, if I start chanting shlokas, time will be up. And yesterday I have taken more time, and I have been told many times by many people. And today, they are going to show me a card. Ultimately, Namrata said that, Ma, is it okay that somebody shows you a card? I said, okay. Anyway, we cannot finish. This is such a vast thing. But it is the same thing over and over again. We are telling in different manner. So I am very, very cautious today. But even though I am cautious, I do not know what I will do. So we have to think like that. So he says, Swakarmana tamabhyarcha. Okay, you are feeling that I am getting only half an hour or 1 hour to do my disciplines. Rest of the time I am active. So how to think of God? He says, think of God through your work. How will you think? He says, Swakarmana tamabhyarcha. Make your work an offering. Through your work, you worship Him. Are? You go to the office, and how dare you think of offering or worship? How will you do it? Or doing the household work, doing every little trivial work, how will you do it? There I said, the simple formula to understand that He creates. And my body is created by Him. And whose is this earth? Neither my father has created, nor grandfather, nor my forefathers. It is created by that Supreme. So I am in this world with my body, in the world created by that Supreme. And in me, my body, my limbs, my hands, feet, with which we feel that we can work, my eyes, all the 5 senses, and inside mind, intelligence, ego, everything is a product which He has given. Right? Say it's a simple work. I have to cut a fruit. Okay? So I take a fruit. Who has created the fruit? You? You have got it from Whole Foods. But who has created it? We cannot create. Then to cut the fruit, you need a knife. You need your hands. Who has created them? Who? Not I, not you, not our forefathers. The knife also, you will say that it has been made by somebody in a factory. Huh? But what are the elements from which the knife has been made? The stainless steel, how that has been made. If you go into it, you will find that ultimately it will be the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements. And whose is the 5 elements? God's. We cannot make the 5 elements. And then the very cutting process, I can be very alert in cutting. Suppose I'm not careful, I'll cut my hand. So that buddhi, that alertness, who has given? Somebody is careful, somebody is careless. Why? And somebody feels that I will do the work in a very sattvic manner, cut it into very equal pieces. As you look, you feel it's so nicely done. And some people, when they cut fruit, they will squeeze it so much that it will be very messy. Now, all these things, capability of somebody, efficiency of somebody, the thought processes of somebody, all these are not ours. You can grow them. You can always become better and better. But everything is given by God alone. Now, when that is so, any work that we do, whether it is cutting a fruit, whether it is folding a cloth, whether it is going for grocery, whether you are eating, sitting, talking, or you are doing a very important work in your office, you have to just stop and think. Everything that I am doing, every thought that is coming to me, the buddhi, my intelligence is working, my hands are working, all that I am able to do, it is because of my connection with that supreme power. Can you not think this? I think throughout the day, we can think like this. And when we think like this, that is what, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. That is, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Krishna has said to Arjuna, I had told the other day also. He says that, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, therefore at all times, mam anusmara. Mam means me, anusmara means remember. Now, does it mean that God, oh, I remember there is a God? No. You have to remember that you are a part of God. God is mine and I am God's. That feeling, and not only chanting it like a mantra, really feeling it, so that what will happen? You feel that the work that I am doing with my hands, with my buddhi, nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to Him and He has given me. So what will go then? Pride, ego. You'll feel humble. You'll feel grateful. You'll feel grateful, blessed. And what about the others who do not have as much affluence? They are also human beings. They have sufferings in their mind. How can they remain still satisfied with what they have? Thinking the same thing. God has given. I have to forbear. I have to forbear. And pray that this phase passes off. You understand? So it is not always when we are able to do good things. It is when bad comes to us also, we have to understand that what we should be. So, swakarmana tamabhyartya. When you are able to, see, I will go to this, I think I'm going from one sloka to another. So, swakarmana tamabhyartya siddhim vindati manavaha. Those who can worship God with work, with a sense of offering, then they will be fulfilled. They will attain siddhi. Fulfill means you attain that state where you will feel that nothing more is to be attained. Now, This word is very important. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. You have to offer your work. That offering of the work, that is what I am trying to explain to you, taking the small example of cutting a fruit. It can be driving a car. See, always we are feeling I-ness. What? I am doing. I have done. Yesterday I took some slokas. They say that I have this much, I have so much power, I have amassed so much of wealth, I am so rich, so I am sukhi, I am very happy, I am very contented. So always we feel this I, the limited body, mind, intelligence. We know that it is changeful, it will die one day. We just simply not go deep into that thought. We put it aside. And presently what we feel, I have done. I am very good. All this ego comes in. So, this offering, how will you offer the work? When we work, even if it is a trivial work, we don't think about him. And not to speak of the, very important, very, which work, which is benefiting so many people. Say a driver drives the car, right? The driver drives and he talks with the people who are sitting in the car, but he knows his destination. He knows which way to turn. Suppose he does not remember which way to turn or what are the rules of driving, what will happen? An accident. So, all of you are driving. See, it's a very, very good example, I think. You are driving, you are talking, you are thinking of your office also maybe, other things, but you are not forgetting your path. You are remembering it. So, why is it that when we are doing work in the office, we forget our own self, the one which is the changeless, which gives us unaffectedness? How the work can be offering, can become an offering. So, Krishna is saying, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Yudhyacha mai arpita mano buddhihi mame vaishyasya samshayam. He says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, therefore at all times, mam anusmara, remember me. Yudhyacha, and fight. And then he says, Mai arpita mano buddhi. The mind and intelligence should be dedicatedly resting on me. If you can do that, mam eva eshyasi, you will attain me. Asamshayam. See how beautifully he has said. Asamshayam means what? Undoubtedly. He's giving a promise actually. He's giving a promise that remember me always in your ups and downs of your life. And in doing so, let your mind and intelligence rest on me dedicatedly. In that case, you will attain me. And I'm undoubtedly telling you about this. So what does it mean? Mind and intelligence? So it is not that when we say that you have to remember me or you have to offer your work. What was the previous sloka? Tam abhyarchya swakarmana, with your work. Tam abhyarchya, worship that Supreme. So, is it that when we are working, whether it is in the house or in the society or in the office, in profession, we just say, I am offering my work. You are doing the work and saying, God, I am offering your work. Or Ma Manusmara, remember me. God, you are there. God, you are there. You are all pervading. No. It has a deeper meaning. What is the deeper meaning? You have to remember that God is all pervading. He's everywhere. He's inside me. He's outside me. And I belong to Him. I'm God's. Everything that I am doing is given by Him, the capability and the intelligence, everything. Even the confusions if we have, even if we are not able to decide something, that is also given by Him. That is, associate God with everything. Is it making any sense? Is it giving you any kind of pursuit to be taken? Will you be doing it at home? It should be. You know, that is why, suppose you see something not clean or something very, say a cloth lying crumpled. You should feel that there is also the self or God. How you will do worship in your temple or in your shrine, you should do that also. Immediately take it. See, the chairs will be here and there. So the mind should feel that everywhere the self is, everywhere God is. And try to associate every thought, every speech, every action. So, my arpita mano buddhihi, by the mind and intelligence, the mind thinks of God, and buddhi, what the intelligence will tell you, mind will think of God. God, you can take any name. But the intelligence will tell you, not only this name of God, God is the source from which everything has emerged. That is called Mai Arpita Mano Buddhi. You understand? So for a seeker, for a devotee, it is absolutely necessary that we apply our intelligence and the mind. Constantly think. Say, the Lakshanas of Bhakti, in 12th chapter, it says, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam. Where is that one? See, this is so good. So, I am talking of how you make your action as offering. We say, I said that, offering means you should not be that I have offered. With a very nice mind, I have offered. We have to see that whether as an offerer, that is, as a devotee or a seeker, I qualify the characteristics of the seeker or devotee. So it says, Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha sama dukkha sukha kshami. This I had taken, I think, yesterday. That you should not be having hatred towards any creature. Then you must have friendly attitude and be kind to all. And no possessiveness. So what happens generally when we start doing work? Tam abhyarchya. We have to offer the work. So for the work to be a true offering, what we should not have in the mind? Possessiveness, clinging. We should not have. We should not feel competitive. Though we should give our 100%. In 3rd chapter, Krishna has said, Mukta Sangha Samachara. Do your work with all excellence, fully, and Mukta Sangam is without any clinging and without any possessiveness. We cling to what? Cling to the result. Definitely, we want a result. Whatever we have taken up as an activity, we want the result. We want a particular result. But he says that Mukta Sangaha, don't be clinging to that particular result, but samachara. That is, be also with this thought that the result may be what you expect, it may not be also. With that mind. So, I go to the next sloka. Nirmamo nirahankaraha, that is, one should not have possessiveness, one should not have ego. Sama dukkha sukhaha. So, you can close the book. Listen to me. Listen to me. You can go and see later on. So, sama dukkha sukhaha. So, when we are doing a worship event, say whether it is a worship with flowers and fruits or through work, we must be what? Sama dukkha sukhaha. That is, the result may not be what we expected, we will become sad. And the result may be what we expected or better than what we expected, we will become very happy. We need not be elated by our happiness, we need not be depressed by our failures or the expectation, whatever we expected, we did not get. Sama dukkha sukha kshami. And you should be forgiving. So, in activity, what we are trying to say, it is not the activity in office. It is the activity that we take up from morning till evening, and through activities, we have to interact with many people. We have to be forgiving in nature. Are we? So, Nitya Yuktata, it has to be connected with all this, all this. So, next one is Santushta Satatam Yogi. Are you contented? Satatam means what? Always. Santushta Satatam. Is anybody like that here? Santushta Satatam. Now, wait. That is why I like the, in one way I like the online satsang. What you cannot say today, next day you can say. So, whatever, let it be like this. So, I've got time only now 10 minutes. So, I'm just telling one incident from the ashram. So what happened? One day I was sitting, Swamiji had gone somewhere many years back, and I was waiting he would come back and take lunch. Everybody has taken lunch. So I found that the gate opened, the gate is quite far away from the building, and somebody very old, very slowly coming with a stick. So could understand that must be a help seeker. Help seeker comes sometimes. Now they have reduced, but. So when he came, seeing him from a distance, I understood he is a help seeker. I went inside and took a 10 rupee note and thought that, poor man, I'll give 10 rupees. When I extended my hand, he said, Amme, I am very poor, I am very sick. I have to go to Calicut, Kozhikode, and there is a hospital where I will get the treatment and medicines free and lodging also free. But I need the money to go there. It is 30 rupees train fare. Can you give me 30 rupees? So as soon as he told, I just turned back and went and took 30 rupees. And I thought, he started thinking, poor man, he will go, he will be in a hospital. What else he can need? Maybe he will need a bed sheet to cover him. and maybe I can give him one mundum. Mundum is this dhoti. And what else? I was thinking like that. So then I thought one towel will be good for him. So all these things, one ashramite was nearby. I said, can you pack all these things? And it was packed. And I was giving out that 30 rupees and the packet. Then I looked at him. Wrinkled face, deposits on the two corners of the eyes, and looking very distressed. So I said that these are the things here. So he was very happy. Then he said, I never expected. Actually, I never come this way. Somebody said there is an ashram, you can go there, maybe you will get it. So I came here, and I'm so lucky today. And he turned. And then he turned back again. And then he was shedding tears. I said, what happened? He said, now I'm crying because I'm old, I'm sick, and maybe I will not live. And I will not be able to come and see you again. So that is my sorrow now. So I said that no, whatever we could do, we have done. If Swamiji was here, maybe he would have got something more. So while I was saying all that, I felt it was lunchtime, we have taken lunch. Maybe this man has not even taken lunch. So we can give some fruits to him. Lunch was over. And then I looked at his legs, two pairs of chappals, broken. One is of one type, another is one type. And with safety pin, he has tied. So I asked the ashramite, do we have any stock of chappals? We generally keep stock of towels, dresses, this, that, mundas, shirts, and we give. But I was not very sure about chappals. Chappals we really don't keep stock. He said that, ashramite said that, yes, some devotee had come and has left a chappal here. So I said, okay, bring it. So bring some fruits. And that also, when that packet I was about to give, he said, Madi amme, in Malayalam. That is, enough, amma. Mother, enough. I don't need. I am absolutely satisfied by whatever you have given. I needed only 30 rupees you have given me. And you have given me something more. I don't want all this. And went. Santushta satatam. Just see. And we who have lots and lots, we still are not santushta. So this is a quality. See, when we say I am a devotee, we must acquire these qualities. Acquire. Maybe the acquiring will not take place in 1 day or 2 days. But we must have that aim and see. That is why it is said that you must be introspective. In Vedanta, it is Vairagya and Viveka. You must have Viveka to understand what is good for you, what is not good for you. If you are spiritual, what are the things that you are doing? Your activities, your speech, your thoughts, through everything, it should be conducive to your growth. And Vairagya. Vairagya to many of the attractions, many of the wants, many of the things that we keep on wanting. It's not necessary. There are certain things definitely necessary. We all want to live comfortably. But if you have more, we should help others to live comfortably. Others to live, those who do not have. So, these are the, then only, what is God saying? Same bhakta, yo mad bhakta same priyaha. That bhakta who has all these qualities, that bhakta is dear to me. So even if you give a whole room full of offerings to God and say that I have done your puja with so many things, unless you have these qualities, you are not dear to God. Feeling frightened? Huh? Feeling frightened? No, God is compassionate. So God is giving all the ways to improve yourself. Santushta satatam yogi yatatma dridha nischaya. So yatatma means you make effort. So you have to make effort to become dear to God. Why you are afraid? Because the other day she said, I forget. Why? Because you are not making effort. You are not making effort. And next is what? Dridha nischaya. That is just like, say, everybody has a family. What is the dridha nischaya? What is the very strong resolve in the mind of everybody? That I should earn more, I should keep my family very well, and even keep money for my children, savings for my children. That is the dridha nischaya of every householder. That is okay. Along with that, if you are in a spiritual path, your dridha nischaya should also grow in this line. What? I should never forget that I belong to Him, that He has given everything, that whatever I do is I, not I, because He has given me all these things to do or to live in this life, my whole existence, my life itself, my life forces. The day He decides that this life forces will be taken away, that day the body will fall. Nobody has control. A family person, the husband will not be able to protect the wife. Parents will not be able to protect the children. It is His wish. And all these things in happening in this world by the three gunas. So, remember that. The very simple thing, my dear children, I want to tell you, I don't want to make you feel frightened, Baba. Not at all. I want to inspire you that these are the qualities. And if you try to take at least one or two qualities and try to act on them, you will find that there is a lot of joy in having those qualities. That is leaving. Now, why is it that we are not able to even remember this much or do this much? He's saying that yatatma dridha nischaya. Then he says, Mai arpita mano buddhi. This Mai arpita mano buddhi, Krishna has said at various places. That is, don't be a bhakta or a seeker just in the namesake. Use your intelligence and see whether you are progressing, whether you are doing the things rightly, whether your fears are becoming less, whether your clingings and possessiveness is becoming less, whether you are having that samatva feeling in whatever you get in life. And how will you do it? Through everyday happenings. Right? You will not be, most of you, like I got the fortune of being at the feet of my Guru, so got his guidance all the time. But here, from the scriptures and whatever you listen, you can do every sadhana, every pursuit remaining wherever you are. How will you do it? Only just remembering. I used to ask Swamiji, you are always saying that God is everywhere, in everything, every time. We have to think of Him. We have to remain connected with Him. Always remember that I am the self. Whatever you are doing, don't fall from that understanding and experience. How can I do it while doing all these activities? And I have told you that when initially went to the ashram, there was a lot of domestic work to be done, things which I was not used to. I'm a city-bred person and went to the village, that too from North India to South India. So much of difference was there and could not even talk because the did not know the language. So a deaf and dumb person trying to run the ashram and learn doing Guru Seva. So Swamiji told me that sloka that I will not repeat. He talked about the Gopikas. He said that the Gopikas, if the Gopikas can do it, you can do it. What are the Gopikas doing? Most trivial work. What are the trivial work? They get up in the morning, they sweep the courtyard, smear cow dung in their courtyard, they boil the milk, they first milk the cows, they boil the milk, then whatever curd they have curdled the previous day, they will churn it and take out butter. Meanwhile, their children sometimes get up in the cradle, they start crying. Then they run, leaving everything, and cradle the children again to sleep. What are these work? It is neither listening to lectures, not chanting anything, not meditating anything, not singing bhajans. But they are doing all this trivial household work. Gayanti chainam anurakta dhiyoshtu kantyo. They are so much connected to Krishna, who they feel inside them. They are one with Krishna, that they are constantly in that union. And they are singing his name. Gayanti chainam anurakta dhiyoho. Anurakta dhiyaha means the mind and buddhi. Mai arpita mano buddhi. Remembering that Krishna, he is our life. He has given us the life. He has given all this activity to my limbs. Whatever I am doing, in the manner in which I am doing, the planning that I have done for my whole day is given by him alone. And thinking like this, singing that, eyes are shedding. So they are the dhanyas. They are the most adorable people, devotees. But as I told you, I would come back to Swamiji again and again with the same question. But I am doing household, you can say ashram hold work, but most of the work is in 100 times more than in a household. Constantly people coming, going, and so many work. And embracing everybody. So we are learning how to embrace everybody, how to deal with difficult people. Sometimes unknown people will come. They will say, they will not listen to our observances. So how to deal with them? Still embrace them. Still feel good about them. And Swamiji says, such difficult people should come to your lives to make you become better, make you become enriched, so that you grow beyond these likes and dislikes. We can become very good with our known people, likable people whom we know and love. So how will this samatva come if you are in an absolutely good situation? We can test our samatva only when there are differences. So, Swamiji says that there should be such, many times he has told me, I wish this situation comes to your life 1,000 times. 1,000 times in your life. So, actually, in household, who is going to tell you? But whatever happens, take it in this spirit. That, oh, this has come. Somebody has hurt me by words, by behavior. Did not invite me for such and such function, though I invited. So, consider those incidents. One day I told Swamiji that you are always saying like this, how to find God everywhere? You can still, while working, think that about this, think of God, think He has given everything, I belong to Him, those thoughts. How to find Him everywhere? Then at that time, Swamiji was in his room. He was sitting on a chair. I was just inside the room. Swami said, you have come to Swamiji's room. You are looking at Swamiji's table. You are looking at Swamiji's bookshelf. What are you thinking looking at them? Who are you being reminded of? I said, Swamiji. When I look at Swamiji's table, Swamiji's books, Swamiji's pen, Swamiji's specs, then Swamiji said, you are looking at my feet, seeing my nails. Whose thought is coming to you? I said, it's Swamiji's nail. So, in Swamiji's room, you are feeling everything belongs to Swamiji. Why can you not do that, seeing everything in this world? And my dear children, I tell you, when I was in the household, I told you that I used to go to Jamshedpur, spend some time with Swamiji, listen to his lecture. Not like this. We got very little of the company. But I used to remember, write everything, go. So many times I have read whatever I could jot down. The letters that I got from Swamiji, I think I could say by heart, though there will be 3-4 pages. So many times. For what? To internalize what he has said. So then that becomes a sadhana. He told me this, that why you cannot do this? Looking at everything, you should feel it is God. Where is the difficulty? Actually, where is the difficulty? So, then it became my sadhana. Then consciously I would think, oh, everything is from that source. So I'm remembering that source, the source who has created, who sustains, who gives everything, who gives dukkha and sukha. Atmaupamena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna. Sukham va yadiva dukkham sayogi paramo matah. When we are able to see sukha and dukkha as the same self and self everywhere, God and God everywhere. So it became a conscious effort. I will also forget. It's not that I would not forget. But even if I forgot, I will again try. And then it was not only seeing the clouds, the trees, the flowers, the butterflies, the squirrels, the rain, and all that. The buildings, the furniture, the human beings. I started doing it in my interaction with people. You understand? Interaction with people. And that is what? When you become like this, when you feel that you remember that you belong to Him, you are not offering anything to Him. You yourself, you are offered. So everything becomes an offering. Your thought becomes an offering. Your items become your offering. Your family becomes an offering. Your possessiveness goes. Your kartritva, that is the doership, goes. You feel, I just belong to Him. I cannot control anything. And you start feeling that I am offered, I am offered, I am offered. So when you feel that, you'll feel every moment. It will not happen in one day. So you must need mumuksha, that is yearning to do it. You must have vairagya, that is not seeing to it what distracts you, makes you attached, and try to come away from that. Know that this world is absolutely ephemeral. So, remaining attached to the family will not give you peacefulness and fulfillment. It will not. So remember that. Not only that you have to offer your work, not only that you have to offer all your bhavas. Later on, Krishna says, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. That whatever emotions comes to you, whether it is hatred, whether it is sadness, joyfulness, everything you offer. That offering is only that, remembering that He is the source. From that it has come. And He has given me. So what can I do? He has given me. Please take it back and make me peaceful. So in that, mumuksha, that is the yearning, is necessary. Abhyasa, practice is necessary. Effort is necessary. And vairagya is necessary. How will you have vairagya? One shloka I will tell. First, I will end it. Let me see the sloka. Questions first. So are you happy? Huh? I think whatever I have told, if you, only one sentence of you can remember, you will be all happy. Should we perform Tirtha Yatras to Kashi, Arunachalam, etc., or can we just pray at home? What is the significance of visiting Punya Tirtha? Sri Shankara himself visited several places. It's a very good question. You know, Tirtha Yatras in the beginning, actually everything is good. You must have a devotional, spiritual pursuit. And I would say you should have the pursuit at the same time of the day. Not that today at 6 o'clock, another day 8 o'clock, another day just at night. The discipline, to be disciplined, is always good. And what should be the discipline? To grow in sattvika nature. Our nature is composition of three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. And rajas always makes us active. One activity after the other. Doesn't allow us to be peaceful. And restful. And it always wants more and more and more. So it is not very conducive to spiritual placidity of mind. And lethargy, you know, you will feel like sleeping, you will always procrastinating, you will feel that, oh, there is a lot of time. I can do it tomorrow. And tomorrow again you will feel tomorrow. It will go like that. So you have to be sattvic. Sattvic in thoughts, sattvic in your intelligence, sattvic in food, sattvic in dresses, sattvic in the speech or what you hear. Through all the senses should have sattvic inputs. This is necessary. So Tirtha Yatras, people go to Tirtha Yatras, that is an austerity. That is an austerity, so one goes. But just like worship, etc., if you consider, when we go to school, we are in class 1, say from KG we start, say class 1. Do we remain in class 1? Huh? Or we want to go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, like this, to higher studies. But in devotional and spiritual life, we keep on remaining in the first class. Every day we do the same thing. Same worship, same chantings. That is why Krishna is saying, Mai arpita mano buddhi. Start thinking, why with all this worship that I have been doing for the last 30 or 40 years, I'm still anxious, I'm still fearful, I'm still afraid of death. Adityasya gatagatairaharaha samshiyate jivitam. Every day the sun rises and the sun sets. And we say, oh, morning has come and evening we will do this, and we go to sleep. Next morning again the sun rises, again the sun sets. But what the seers see in that? Samkshiyate jivitam. Your day has been less by one day. That is introspection. So, you have less time to seek, less time to be united in your pursuit for being Nitya Yukta, less time. Every day you are losing one day. So this, even, see, when we grow old, our skin wrinkles, teeth become loose, we don't see well, we start having loss of hearing, we are not able to get up and sit down. If we have to walk, we have to take a stick. This is our condition. trasascha notpadyate. Seeing that we still feel that we want to live, we want more, and this is our condition. So, Tirtha Yatra is good, but what is the best Tirtha Yatra? Tirtha Yatra inside yourself. That is the Tirtha Yatra you should take to when you are in spiritual. But in the process, if you go to Punya places, you must go, but have this introspection, like significance of visiting Punya Tirtha. We go to Punya Tirtha, we go to holy rivers, we take a dip. We don't purify ourselves. Mind does not get purified. So Yudhishthira is being told by Vidura that, oh Yudhishthira, you should take a dip in the Atma Nadi, the river of Atma. Na varina shuddhyate chantaratma. By water, going to the pilgrim spots, taking a dip in holy river or worshipping, by just dipping in holy water, your antaratma will not become purified. Only the body will have a bath. So take a dip in the Atma Nadi. Yesterday I was saying that Atma has the beautiful qualities. What? It is Akashavallepa Vidura Goham. It is like the space which is taintless. In earth, if we draw a line, the line remains. In water, if we draw a line, as we draw the line, it makes a line and gets mixed up again. In this space, nothing. So our real identity is like that. Akashavat. Lepa vidura goham. We are taintless like the Akasha. And Adityavad bhasya vilakshanamoham. We are like the sun. We are always bright. We are always revealing everything. There is no darkness in our mind. So, when there is something, some hurt, some feeling, some unhappiness, affliction, feel that I am the self, I am part of God, which has no taint. And when the mind becomes confused, undecided, you feel andhakara, darkness in the mind, you should say that no, I am the sun. My real identity is like the sun. So I will not allow this darkness in the mind. And even the darkness also comes from the same self. Just like Swamiji was saying, that the whatever is brightness, lack of brightness is darkness. So in that, darkness also is the same self. He has created it. So, aharyavat nitya vinischaloham. I am like the mountain, cannot be moved at all. Ambodhivat para vivarjitoham. I am like the ocean which is boundless, infinite. My mind should be like this, embracing all kinds of inputs, but remaining absolutely calm and tranquil and pleasant. These four. What? I am like the space, I am like the sun, I am like the mountain, I am like the ocean. So has it, who is Rajani? Okay. Oh, Rajani, I know you. Then Srini Raghu-taman. Advaita Siddhanta says there is only one universal consciousness. But Dvaita Siddhanta says individual consciousness is different from universal consciousness. What is the real truth? Advaita Siddhanta and Dvaita Siddhanta. So I know Advaita Siddhanta, and I know that the truth is beyond Advaita and Dvaita. There is only one truth, one consciousness. All this plurality underneath is the one consciousness, one presence. That much I can tell you. And our pursuit should be to understand it. And I think I have been only saying that through this Nitya Yuktata, the differences all will go. You become different. You will find that you are always connected with the God, and all self is one. Dear mom, okay, who is Sanjay? Okay. In recent years, my attention span has become very, very short. The constant overstimulation due to tech addiction is impacting my short-term memory too. What should I do during the long work days to protect my sanity? Thanks. Very good question. You are understanding the cause of your memory, which is attention. Attention span has become reduced and short. So you have understood that the constant overstimulation due to tech addiction, that addiction should be removed. Profession. That is the profession. Okay. So because of your profession, you have to constantly look at the screen, right? Constantly. In a day, I'm saying, definitely you must be sleeping 6 to 7 hours, and rest of the time, say, eating, taking bath, etc., and rest of it is profession. I will say that for many profession, when you are otherwise, say you are going for groceries or walking, your profession, many things you'll have to think over it. But I feel that there are certain moments absolutely ours. What is that? Yesterday I told you, when we take bath, when we take dresses, when dress ourselves. And suppose you are driving alone, or maybe you are walking. Okay, even if that time is not allowed you, at least while you are going to bed, you think about these truths which have been given. And I think this Bhagavad Gita, these slokas that I have taken, I could not take some more connected slokas, but it is very simple. Very simple. You just have to remember that, say you are saying that the whole time is taken by the profession, and so your memory is becoming, your attention is becoming short. Short-term memory is also going. So what you should do? Accept it. Either accept it or find out where you are wasting your time so that whatever you are hearing, the truth, you are not able to apply to yourself. I think in these cases, you need more of personal talk so that the problem is understood more well. We learned that we must have ownership on our actions. We must have ownership on our actions, but not the results. Yet, when the result is not what we desired, how do we not feel sad or doubt that perhaps the action was inadequate? Conversely, how do we not rejoice when the result is what worked for? In other words, if our hands are only the tool of God's work, how do we actually believe it? Our hands are tool of God. I showed you why, how. Our mind and intelligence is not made by you or anybody. Our limbs have not been made by anybody. Senses have not been by anybody. That I am intelligent is also given by God. Many children, they don't have intelligence. Like he is saying, now God has taken away his short-term memory. What can be done? He has to accept it. But he has to be daksha, tactful, to see whether because of his own wastefulness of time and going over the truth, effort in spiritual pursuit, he is not able to rectify it. Do you get it? We have to see whether we are wasting our time. The little time that we get, the little energization that we are getting in the talks, whether you are able to apply it to your life, whether we are wasting it, that you can do. So, when we do something, it is not thought. Suppose you have done something very well, nobody is telling you that you should not feel happy and clap. Nobody is saying that. Know very well that there can be a situation when you will not be able to do the best. There can be another who will be better than you. So what is Bhagavad Gita telling? That have this samatha in the mind. Even if you have done everything, there is a factor. In the 18th chapter it is there. Daivatra Panchamam. That is, even if we have planned everything well, at the last minute we find that nothing worked. Who is doing it? There is a factor called Daivam, a supreme power. But supreme power is not telling us that since it has happened like this, the design is like this, you should not be enthusiastic. He is saying that niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshata kritam aphala prepsuna karma tattat satvikam uchyate, something like that. It is in 18th chapter. It says that any karma done, it should be without any sangha, with not getting attached to the result. But don't think that you can simply remain thinking that I should not be attached, so why should I do my best? No. You have to do your best, but thinking that the result can be anything. Have this equipoise. And aragadveshata, don't have attachment and attraction or repulsion towards the result. Niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshata. And he says, who is the best worker? Mukta sango anaham vadi. You should not have sangha, same thing. You should not be proud. We become very proud if we have done something. We throw a party. We have done very well. My daughter has done very well, so a party. Don't be elated. You throw a party, no doubt. But see in your mind whether you are having a pride that my daughter has done. Or my son has done. That my feeling has to be gone. Dhrityutsaha samanvitaha. Your buddhi, your dhriti, everything should be full of utsaha, enthusiasm. So, like that. I'll tell you a small, I think you should give me 5 more minutes, no? It is in context to what he said. It is again an incident. You know, Swamiji told me, I was working in Kolkata, so we needed to shift to Kharagpur IIT. Swamiji told me that leave your job, and though you are qualified, by choice try not to be employed anymore. I have just worked for 7 years of my life. I may be 30 or 31. I was 32 years old. So by choice, try not to get employed anymore. So I could have got a job. And I was working and I liked my job. I liked teaching. I was a lecturer. So, and I liked my subject, physics. And he said that you have done research in physics. Now you do research in Srimad Bhagavatam. Get a book and read it in a research-oriented manner. You not just read it. Many people read every day 2-3 chapters. Kerala, it is very common. 2-3 chapters every day, some people will be reading. But that is also good. Don't think that is not good. That is good. But when you come into this path, you should see whatever you are reading, whether you are applying it to yourself. Then only you can, get liberated from the shackles of the mind. So I bought a Bhagavatam book, Sanskrit and English translation. I didn't know Sanskrit much. A little only I had studied in my lower classes in school. So I used to get headache reading them. But I used to like it very much. So the translations I will read. So I first thing I found that everybody said, you are a fool. What does Swamiji know? He's a sannyasin. What will he know? That at this age, if you don't have a job, what will you feel? He doesn't know anything. So tried to dissuade me, tried to discourage me, tried to scare me in many ways. I felt that since my Guru has told, if our vision is up to here, his vision must be up to there. So I left my job. And I think I became the happiest person. And you know, when people used to scare, I used to think, one day I will retire, I'll have to retire. That day, how will I accept this not having a job? I will accept it right away. You understand? I'll accept it right away. And I became so happy. I became happy because from childhood, I've studied, sat for exam, again studied, sat for exam, again studied, sat for exam. Then I did my PhD. Then I got into a job. Then it was not exam, but prepare for the lectures every day, how to make the student understand. So it was studies, studies, studies. I found that I'm free. Now I've got so much time. I can read, I can write, I can sit. I'm very fond of nature, and Kharagpur is very abundant in nature. So it was very good. Now what happened, I decided a routine for me. I would read after breakfast, I will read Bhagavatam, then I'll go and cook. Now I was doing that. Suddenly, my next door neighbor, she was also a young lady with 2 children. The elder one used to go to school, the younger one was very small. So she came one day while I was reading. So I welcomed her, asked her to sit, gave some tea and talked to her. So after 1 hour, 1.5 hours, chit-chatting, she went away. Next day she came. Again next day she came. So every day my Bhagavata reading was not going on. But I used to feel so happy at those moments. So then I was thinking, I cannot hurt her. I have to welcome her. So one thought came to me. I thought that first I will cook and then I will study. So I started cooking. So she came at the usual time and I welcomed her, made her sit. But I said that the pressure cooker whistle went. So I went to the kitchen. I said, please wait, I'm cooking now. So then I will come back and say, I have to, stir my vegetables. And in between whatever she was saying, I was listening. So one day passed like that. Second day when she came, again she found me cooking. Third day, I found she's holding the hand of the son and crossing my home. She is going, and she entered another house. So, you tell me. I think if some years earlier, I would have every day chit-chatted with her, maybe. But that is the time when I was having that yearning. And without Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, I cannot hurt her. But I became Daksha and found out a method. And there was a revelation in my mind. That is what I want to tell you. The time that we waste in chit-chatting, unnecessary things, just make out a list, you will find lot of time you are wasting actually. Okay. Dehe sthimam sarudhire abhimatim tyajatvam jaya sutadishu sada mamatam vimuncha pasyanisham jagadidam shanabhanganishtham vairagyaragarasiko bhava bhakti nishtha dehe sthimam sarudhire abhimatim tyajatvam jaya sutadishu sada mamatam vimuncha पश्यानिशं जगदिदं क्षणभङ्गनिष्ठं वैराग्यरागरसिको भवभक्तिनिष्ठः. Your nishtha is towards the body, family, wealth, property, acquisitions. This shloka says all that attachment and the clingings to all these, vimuncha, cut aside. Try to, slowly. And your nishtha is towards the world and the worldly objects. Have the nishtha towards God. Bhava bhakti nishtha. Have vairagya in the mind. Okay. Jai
Thank
Guru.
you.